Hey, what's up? Welcome back to Behind It with Nisimo, and today we talk a little bit about the overall production of Iconic. So the track is fairly simple. It has a pretty standard arrangement. So we start here. This is the whole intro part, which is very short.
Iconic, like Vogue, I got it, I know, you want it, let's go. Iconic, I'm so excited, I glow, looking like you want it, let's go.
Here in this part, we directly really go into a very energetic intro, and I think that was needed because otherwise I would need to have so much time to build an energy towards the drop. So I kept that very short, and then the only thing which is changing basically in my production is then one riser, and the vocal has some more play in there with like delays and reverb automations. Go right into the automations here. You will see here we have a standard riser which is coming up. Then we also have here the longer risers which basically start the song. And here we have some certain automations for the bass line. I just give the bass line a little bit more distortion together with delay to make it sound bigger. I have a low cut on there, and then I will get more high end into my bass line. So it really sounds like an uplifter on itself. And that introduces the whole drop, I guess.
Iconic, I'm so excited, I glow, looking like you want it, let's go.
Okay, and then we are basically in the drop. So for all my songs, I try to keep my productions as simple as possible, to not overcrowd them, to not have any weird sounds going on, which are not really necessary. So I start very simple, I guess. The first one is as always. Then we have the bass line, which has a nice rhythm and just is very groovy on its own. The upper bass has some more sand buzzes, which tend to give me a little bit more groove and exaggerate the whole sound. Without them, it wouldn't sound that crazy. It really does a lot. Yeah, the bass line just gets a whole new character, and that's basically for throughout the sand buzzes. And then we combine it with some drums. And now there's an important part, because in most songs I really don't like that the vocal is just like keep playing through. Because I want to introduce my lead sound first, because then the listener can listen to something else and the vocal is not so repetitive. But the vocal is such a dominant part in the song that I wanted to go on with it. If I would have both elements in there, so like the lead sound, the vocal, or the drums, and all the basses, it would be too much. It would be simply too much. So I made the choice to have at first vocal, and then we come to the lead sound.
I'm so excited, I glow, looking like you want it, let's go.
Yeah, that lead sound is quite nice. The one plugin which really makes a difference, I guess, in this production is El Rey by Acoustica Audio and Greg Wells. I used it on all the buses, so it's on my bass bus, it's on my drum bus, and it's on my all vocal bus, because it just sounds so great and so amazing. It's just like gets some analog warmth in there. So these are like the main elements here in the drop, and then we go into the tiny little elements which makes everything sound more better. Basically, these are the toms. Here's like the little bass shot which hits at the first note. It's very simple, no real low end, does a nice job. We have here then a reverse bass bus, and it's just giving the bass line a little groove enhancement. Basically, then we come to the build-up, and in the build-up, I try to get rid of most of the elements which I don't really need, which are the hi-hat sounds, the extra hi-hats, and I just keep the rides because they are very groovy. I just get a snare riser in there, and then also the vocal crier. So that gives like a nice, almost, yeah, horror-ish sounding vibe to it. And then we are here in the breakdown. What you also see is I just use one downlifter, which is this one. And it has kind of like an unique sound to it. I don't really like all this white noise uplifters, downlifters, etc. because it makes a production too crowded, and it's just like a cheap trick if you don't want to make like any automations in your song. So I tend to get all the automations right to introduce my breakdown. You see here the snare riser has some automations, and we have here the whole build up plugs, which have a lot of automations, again with pitch, reverb, delays, to really just get the listener going and give the listener the chance to understand, okay, we are going now into the next part of the song. And then I do the same with the bass line, so the bass line again dissolves in just like a massive amount of reverb, distortion, delays, some left and right panning, and then I cut out some high end and some low end to just filter it out. And all these aspects together just give me like a very nice cohesive sound. And yeah, we will understand more and more that we are going into the breakdown. And yeah, for the rest, breakdown pretty simple. It's kept pretty simple. We just have a kick drum here in the parts. Then we have here an uplifter plug, which is kind of nice, I guess. It's the same plug. So this plug is again an uplifter, which I made out of the other plug I used in the production in the drop. So this will get me a more cohesive sound, and the listener isn't really just like surprised by any new samples I will put in there just because I needed to search for something on Splice. And I play around with like a lot of panning and just like filters, format shifting, depth controls to give me a very nice sound, and just like something very unique you can immediately just like listen to and be like, okay, that is again the lead sound. And the whole song just comes from out this like bridge part into the breakdown, but the breakdown is also my build up too, and it just keeps driving the energy upwards. And I think that's kind of nice for club songs, because then you can play them out quite seamlessly and make some cool edits with that one. And then we go into the last drop, and then it's just like getting all the elements back together and making them sound as amazing as possible. So yeah, these are the most important arrangement tools I tend to use. So I try to focus on the best sounds possible, keeping it simple, just like not pushing everything into my records at the first moment in the drop or breakdown. And then I play around with every element I have and make a great amount of automations and go to a great length to just like keep in the same soundscape and make it sound pretty nicely. And yeah, so that's basically it. That's iconic how I arranged it together with SEPHINE, and I hope to see you for the next video. See you then.